Hello, and welcome to the Good News from the Corner podcast. I'm Jay, I'm your podcast host, and I'm also the rector at St. John's Episcopal Church in Memphis, Tennessee. I'm glad you found us. I'm glad you're here. Stay tuned for sermons, lectures, and more good news from the corner of Central and Greer.
Advent is a penitential season like Lent. In Lent, we prepare ourselves for Easter by reflecting on our mortality and sins. Advent is a time of introspection, to reflect on how much we need Jesus as we wait on his arrival. Yesterday, December 14th, was the 12th anniversary of the Sandy Hook Elementary School shooting. 20 students and 6 adults were shot and killed at the school in Newtown, Connecticut. The Reverend Joanna Seibert's reflection yesterday was titled, Remembering December 14, 2024. December 14, remember the names of the children and teachers killed at Sandy Hook Elementary 12 years ago on December 14th, 2012. And she listed the names and ages of each one, including the gunman's mother and the shooter. She shared the December 10th, 2018 Advent message for today from our St. Mary's Cathedral. Holding these persons in our broken, open hearts, we are less likely to forget. And she quoted Elie Wiesel, to forget the dead would be akin to killing them a second time. How many more have there been since then? The holiday season can be difficult for many. Many people experience grief, loss, and hardship during the holiday season. There are churches acknowledging this and offering comfort and solace by having the longest nights or Blue Christmas services this Wednesday, the 18th, either online or in person, where we can gather with others for prayer, music, and reflection. Yet even in the midst of the dark days of winter, there is light and joy to be found. It is possible to hold these two opposing tensions at the same time, light and dark, pain and joy. Friday, December the 13th, was the feast of St. Lucia. Lucia of Syracuse was an early 4th century martyr. Legend has it that she brought food and aid to Christians hiding in the Roman catacombs, wearing a candlelit wreath on her head to light her way, so her hands were free to carry as much food as possible. Since her name means light, and her feast day is during some of the shortest days of the year, it has become known as the Festival of Light. And today, December 15th, is the third Sunday of Advent and is traditionally called Gaudete Sunday. Gaudete is the Latin word meaning rejoice. Paul writes in his letter to the Philippians, rejoice in the Lord always. Again, I say rejoice. We're about halfway through Advent. Sometimes it feels like Lent, but we're about halfway through Advent. And we replace our dark colors of purple or blue for our lighter and happier rose color. We get to wear these festive vestments, and we light the light pink candle in the Advent wreath. We get a reprieve of sorts from the penitential readings. Most of today's lectionary readings emphasize joy and celebration, not only from Philippians, rejoice in the Lord always, but also in Zephaniah. Sing aloud, O daughter of Zion. Shout, O Israel. Rejoice and exult with all your heart, O Jerusalem. And our canticle says, you shall draw water with rejoicing from the springs of salvation, and cry aloud, inhabitants of Zion. Ring out your joy. Plenty of Gaudete here. But wait, how are we to rejoice when our hearts are breaking, or when living in fear or despair? Let's see what John has to say, as our gospel reading today is a continuation of last Sunday's reading. If you were not here last Sunday, I commend you to listen to Donna's sermon. Today we start with, you brood of vipers, who warned you to flee from the wrath to come. Bear fruits worthy of repentance. Well, John is a killjoy, or maybe not. Despite his yelling, the crowd stayed and asked, what should we do? That's not a question one asks when things are going well. It's a question we ask when we don't know what else to do, when we are weary, tired, or desperate. What is John's answer? Whoever has two coats must share with anyone who has none, and whoever has food must do likewise. To the tax collectors, he says, collect no more than the amount prescribed you. To the mercenaries, the soldiers, don't extort money by threats or false accusations. Be satisfied with your wages. To the Pharisees and Sadducees, don't allow your religious heritage to make you arrogant or complacent. John's answers are tailored to the specific situation of the people asking. Share now. Be merciful now. Do justice now. We often think of justice as a sweeping change that requires massive movements involving many people and institutions. And sometimes that is what is needed, as in the civil rights movement to end segregation. But justice can start with us, one small act at a time. How do we treat our raider, our coworker? How do we treat the stranger? How we treat others is how we treat Jesus. John ends his sermon in the wilderness with a disturbing description of the coming Messiah. He will baptize you with the Holy Spirit and fire. His winnowing fork is in his hand to clear the threshing floor and to gather the wheat into his granary, but the chaff he will burn with unquenchable fire. And this is good news. How? This Jesus who judges, sorts, gathers, and burns us. We tend to equate judgment with condemnation, but to judge something is to see it clearly. Synonyms for judgment include discernment, perception, and acuity. To see. Maybe John is saying the Messiah really sees us, that he knows us at our very core. Maybe God is separating what is destructive in us from all that is good, burning away what is holding us back from being who God created us to be. John, our namesake, is the patron saint of love, loyalty, and friendship. The writer Debbie Thomas shares what she calls an ironic little fact that John is the patron saint of spiritual joy. He was still a fetus when he first leapt at the presence of Mary and Jesus. He rejoiced at the sound of his bridegroom's voice. When it was time for him to decrease so that Jesus could increase, he did so willingly, saying, "My joy is now full." Sharing our gifts is a good way to experience joy ourselves while sharing joy with others. You shared your abundance with the residents of the Dorothy Day House by adopting 21 children and youth from the Angel Tree. You also provided home goods to 4 households so that they could set up and move into their own housing. We can individually reach out to someone who is lonely, in pain, or in need. We can share ourselves. Life is beautiful and messy. It's full of pain and joy. On this Gaudete Sunday, may you find joy in the coming of the Christ child and live out that joy with love and light to those around you, your family, your neighbors, the stranger on the street corner. May we remember John's admonition to share what we have, be merciful, and do justice. And as Donna told us last week, be brave, step out, and say yes to welcoming the Christ child in our hearts this Advent season and forevermore.
Well, peace. Good morning. It's wonderful to see each of you here today. If you're visiting, welcome. If you have made this your spiritual home, welcome. Please be mindful on the 8th page of your order of worship or your bulletin. Lots of good things happening. We are in a particularly busy season of the year, of course. The first thing that you probably received on Saturday was a text message from the parish about lessons and carols, which is tonight at 5 p.m. And Dr. Snyder and the choir will be here to lead us. Hit us with it, Doctor.
Good morning. So yes, today, that's quite an introduction. It's hard to carry on from that. Today indeed is Lessons and Carols at 5 o'clock with Choir of St. John's, with guest singers singing music both ancient and new. It's kind of a survey of some of the most beloved repertoire of the Anglican Episcopal tradition, and this liturgy is so specific to the Anglican Episcopal heritage, and it's just one of the many beautiful and unique facets of our liturgies together. And it will be professionally recorded and available on demand on our YouTube channel afterward. So please come today and bring a friend to our wonderful service of Lessons and Carols. Thank you.
5 o'clock this evening. Thank you. Also, if you would notice in this season, we have a number of poinsettias that are set to be delivered to our homebound. And we need your help with that. We need you to volunteer. If you would take a look here in the bride's room, just the adjoining room over, you'll see the poinsettias out for delivery. And if you are heading east, we would love for you to take one of those and mark the name off the list. And it's a tangible, visible way to remember those who aren't always able to be with us here in person. So please help us with the poinsettia deliveries. Also, please note that this coming Wednesday, the 18th, is the deadline for the Christmas flowers, another important part of our life here. And finally, looking beyond the Christmas season, we do have a wonderful event over in January, and J.J. Dowdy's going to talk to us a little bit about the upcoming lecture series.
Good morning. The Jim McGee inaugural speaker series will be January 11th, and Luke Timothy Johnson will be here. Now, I know you've heard Jay talk about him. He was one of his professors, and we are so excited about having him come. I just finished reading his book, and you're going to love it. So plan on being here January 11th. Registration is open. It's very easy to do. Just go online to our webpage or scan the QR code. Daycare is available. but only for those who register for daycare. It starts at 9:30 with coffee and fellowship, and he will begin speaking at 10, and will go to about 2:30. Lunch is $15, and you can register for that when you register in. So I look forward to seeing y'all on the 11th, and just know that as we rejoice and we bring joy with the birth of Christ, this is going to keep us in that joyful, rejoicing life with a resurrected Lord. So thank you.
Thank you, JJ. Yes, it's true. Dr. Luke Timothy Johnson was my New Testament professor in college. I think I should give a disclaimer. He is not responsible for my formation completely. I don't know if he would claim me as one of his students, but he's a wonderful speaker, and we look forward to having him here with us in January. Thanks for tuning in today. You've been listening to the Good News from the Corner podcast. St. John's Episcopal Church is located at the corner of Central and Greer in Memphis, Tennessee. Our parish website is www.stjohnsmemphis.org. You can also catch us on all of the normal social media platforms. You can join us for church at 10:30 on Sunday morning on our St. John's Memphis YouTube channel. Share the Good News podcast with somebody. And remember, you matter to God. Your life is not yours alone. Come see us sometime.